Welcome to a Community Partners interview where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make change in our daily lives. I'm your host, Sean Pickard, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Sam Turner, who is the Director of Participant Services for Metro Community Living. Metro Community Living offers housing, support, and services to people with disabilities so they can build meaningful lives in their communities. Thank you for joining us today, Sam. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciated the invitation.
Oh, we always look to learn more about who's out there and what's going on. So thank you for joining us. But before we really get going here about Metro Community Living, let's talk a little bit about the Sam Turner experience. What inspired you to work at Metro Community Living? Why work with individuals with disabilities?
Oh, that's a great question. What really brought me to the disability sector, it comes down to my passion. I have always loved working with people. I love supporting individuals and reaching their goals. I've always had a really strong pull. I love giving back to my community, and this kind of just took that drive to the next level. I have a real commitment to advocating for people's rights. When I first started working with individuals, I worked in small option homes. And I just kind of grew from there. So my passion just kept taking me to different avenues. And I ended up with MCL. I was probably 15 years into my career with disability support. And I started at MCL as a supervisor and worked my way up to my role as a director.
That is an excellent story. So it sounds like it's kind of been with you through your whole life.
My whole life, being part of a community and adding value was really instilled in me even when I was younger. So I just kind of took that with me, and that's why I ended up in the field that I did.
Oh, do me a favor, Sam. Thank your parents for me, will you?
I will. I absolutely will, for sure.
Sounds good. While I was doing my research, I saw that Metro Community Living has a number of different services that you offer. Can you talk to me about those services? What are they? How do they help folks?
Sure. And so just quickly, MCL, we've been around over 30 years now, which is amazing. And through that time, we've definitely expanded what we offer. So we have our small option home program. And what that is, that offers 24/7 support to folks with disabilities. And we serve all kinds of different people. So we have folks with physical disabilities, intellectual disabilities, mental health, acquired brain injuries, a whole range of folks that access our services. And depending on what they need is what we offer. So like I said, so we have the small option home program. So a home typically has 4 people living in it. There's usually 1 to 2 staff members, again, depending on what the needs of the home are and the people that live there. And they have a night's sleep or either a night awake in the home. And we also have our ILS program. So that's the independent living program. So those are people living in their own apartments, and they get a range of supports, and it can vary. It can be 2 hours a week. It can be 2 hours a day. It can be 8 hours a day, or maybe 12 hours a day. Again, depending on what that person needs to make them successful. We also have a shared services program, which is really unique and it's fairly new. And that's a collaboration between health and the Department of Opportunity of Social Development. So that's for individuals who may have some more complex health needs, just need that extra support to get them living in community. So getting people out of hospital or long-term care who just don't belong there and into community. So that would be our shared services program. And what we're really excited about is IF. So that's individualized funding. And what that does is that gets the participant control over their money. So they kind of create the budget, and then they find someone like MCL to help execute it, and they kind of tell us what their goals are and what they want, and then we provide that service to them.
Oh, there's a lot of great stuff going on there, Sam.
We got a lot of good things. MCL is where you want to be, for sure.
The ILS with support, right? Like that, to me, that's awesome. But the shared services, that's another step that's been missing for so long.
Truly. Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what's actually, and it's cool because IF is something somewhat similar. So we're working with people who have lived in institutions for the majority of their life. So this is now the government giving money to the person and then they can go out and create what their world should look like. So they can live in the community that they want to live in, that they can live with who they want to live with. Maybe they want a roommate. It gives them the power back.
So you can actually live as a person instead of an institution, right?
Yes, you got it. You got it. That's it. That's really important to us.
Oh, I love that one. But let's talk about the activities tab. I saw that tab on the website. What is the activities tab all about?
So what that does, and I'll have to say, it's just step one in getting people into community. So what it does, it kind of provides a stepping stone into activities. So like MCL, we would have something like we have a running group that meets weekly, and it gets kind of people off to the good start, but then it builds on it. So yeah, we got a running club, but what's the next step? The next step is finding other community members who are running too, right? We want to see people integrated into community, not just within an MCL running group. It's running group where you meet other people who have a shared interest with you. It's finding people who aren't paid to be in these people's lives. That's really important to us. We need friendships. We don't need paid support workers filling that role.
Yeah, it's finding the thing that you like that other people like, right? Finding that community that you need.
Yes, finding your people. So we offer a range of different activities. So we have a couple things that meet weekly. So pool club is a big hit. So they get together and they go play some pool and socialize. And again, they meet community members. I think for us, it's really important that community people see individuals with disabilities as their neighbors, as community members. It's not just someone with a disability who lives in your community. They are community. We try and have a lot of big events. So we like to celebrate the holidays. We always make sure that we have something big going on. Our calendar is filled with other community events because, again, it's really important for us to get people out and as regular community members. So we try and like, what's going on at the local library? Libraries have amazing programs. And again, it gives them exposure to other people and an opportunity to make real friendships. Churches have awesome things that we can tap into. We have we're lucky, so we have something called the Candid Game Center. So like recreation centers within the communities that we tap into to find out what's going on. We have some supervisors here that just created a men's wellness program. And we reached out to the YMCA, who gave us a beautiful spot to use. But what that did, it actually triggered the YMCA to say, hey, listen, for your participants, they could also access things that we have on our calendar. So again, getting people into community is really important.
And that's actually a big restriction across the country is how many communities actually talk to each other about what's going on inside what they're doing. So happy to hear that you're really expanding with the other communities around you.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Yeah, it's what we do. Like I said, a lot of times something that folks who have come out of institution is they don't have what we call, your regular day where you go out and, you go to your regular Tim Hortons and you start making those connections and you start to know, Judy behind the counter. That's important just to have those people having those connections. It's something that a lot of us get to have, and people who are coming out of institutions haven't had that ability. So for us, that's a big push.
Absolutely. And, when you're talking about individuals coming out of institutions, that really kind of blends nicely with my next question here, Sam, which is about restrictions, right? Are there any restrictions to the services at Metro Community Living, such as age, caregivers or family members only? What are the different things you need to hit some of these programs?
So for us here in Nova Scotia, you have to be connected to the Department of Opportunity and Social Development. So you have to be a participant within DSP. So once you're connected there, you can be connected to our services. So it's based on a referral process. But once you're in the DSP, then you can access an organization like ourselves. But as far as our program, we're only possibilities. So once you're connected to DSP and you're working with us, we're pretty much an open door with what can happen. We want family involvement. We want your friends dropping over. So if we talk about the small option home program, there's no visiting hours. This is your home. This isn't a bed in a small option facility. This is your home where your friends and your family are welcome. And you have a say in what your life looks like.
And that is completely different and just mind-boggling for some, I'm sure.
You know what? There's been a big transition. I know you guys are located in Ontario, so I don't know if you're familiar with the human rights remedy that happened in Nova Scotia.
I'm unfamiliar with that one. Like, let's hear about it, Sam.
Okay, so there was actually a lawsuit brought against our government by people in the disability community because there was barriers to where they could live. There was no choice in what community you got to live in. If, I hate saying this word, but if a bed opened up, you had to take the bed. And it didn't matter if it wasn't where you wanted to live. If there was a vacancy and you were on the list, you moved into that vacancy. And people in that community said, this isn't right. This isn't a privilege. People have human rights and they are being violated. And this is the best news. They won. And the government had to respond to that. And that's how the human rights remedy came about. It was a real catalyst for change. So it was a monumental case that changed the way that service was being offered to folks. So, I'd mentioned the IF, the individual funding. That's part of the remedy. That's part of the government's commitment to right their wrongs. We were one of the last provinces to have institutions. We are working really hard to get those closed. I believe it's by 2028. We want to see all the institutions closed within Nova Scotia and seeing those people who have lived in those living in community.
Let's make sure that happens. I want to jump on that one because first of all, I think I need to back up here because the first thing that went through my mind when you start talking about this is the government could conceivably move someone across the province just because a bed opened up.
There was a vacancy. Yeah. Now listen, you could say no, but then you're on that list and we don't know how long you're going to be on that list for. So if you're sitting in hospital and someone comes to you and says you can move out, you don't have to, but I don't know how much longer you're going to have to wait if you do. I mean, there's no choice in that. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. So it's been a nice change to see. Our organization has really been a driving force behind it as well. We were one of the first service providers to apply and actually be approved to be IF providers. So that was a really cool accomplishment. And we've welcomed, I don't even know the numbers of people coming out of institutions. Courtney Smith, who's my colleague, she works really hard and meets lots of people every week who are living in institutions who are just chomping at the bit to get their apartment in their community of choice.
Yeah, I can understand that because then you actually feel like you're living your life and not just put somewhere. So
yeah, exactly. And then to have someone say, okay, here is what you need. Here's the money. You can now work with service providers to make sure that they're a right fit for you. Because, imagine you having a support worker and you don't like them.
Yeah, you're stuck.
That's you're stuck. So it's nice to see choice and, dignity and care, dignity and choice, and autonomy, something so basic, but there were so many people who weren't offered that.
Oh, I'm loving the changes.
We're with you. We're loving them too. We're super excited about all the things that are happening.
But let's talk a little bit here. Now, I know everyone in life has their own journey, right? We've all got our own ups and downs, things we need to do. But when it comes to an organization like Metro Community Living, there's a bit of a path folks need to follow to find out where is their autonomy, where is their community. So knowing that everyone is different, what would a common journey through Metro Community Living look like?
Absolutely. So you would be connected through us, through something in Nova Scotia. It's called a care coordinator. And we sit down with your care coordinator. And if there was family involved or friends involved, we would sit together at a table and we would talk about who you are. What are your goals? Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to see yourself? What are your interests? And Sean, that's a funny one because sometimes when you're asking someone who's lived in an institution, what are your interests? Sometimes you get the answer is I don't have any. And so we have to start from ground zero and do as many different things as possible to expose them to all these different new opportunities to find out actually what their interests are. You can have folks who never even made their own cup of coffee before because, horrible word, they weren't allowed in the kitchen. So that's the first hurdle that we have to jump over is deinstitutionalization of even the individual, as well as sometimes family members. We have a lot of family members when we're doing that initial intake where they'll say, well, no, they can't. They can't do that. Well, they should be in bed by 10. And it's working with them to really do a big shift in how they think and look at things. So that's kind of your initial intake with us. We talk about you. We figure out what you want. We figure out what your goals are. And from there, we build a support plan. So it's collaborative. It's getting everyone at the table and talking about what we want to see have happen. So if we're talking about our ILS program, we're talking about what community, what area do you want to live in? MCL, we're right across Nova Scotia. We're across the whole province. So you might be living in Truro and wanting to move to Dartmouth. So that's what we do. We look for an apartment for you. You're part of the process. We get that lease signed. And then we talk about next thing. So what's the next goal? Maybe it's finding a job. Well, then that's the next step on it. It's like we're life manager assistants. So you kind of tell us what you want, and then we're going to assist you to make that happen. We're really good at community connections. So we've been around a long time. So we kind of know who's in our community, who we need to tap on. So maybe it's knocking on Lake City, which is a program here located in Dartmouth that can help with job finding. Teamworks is another one we might knock on the door. So we know who to go to make things happen. That's what we're really good at, is finding different community resources for folks. And then from there, it's person-led, it's person-centered support. Like I keep saying, it's kind of what the individual brings forward is what we start working towards.
I probably shouldn't say this, Sam, but you know what? It sounds like you're removing people from cloning programs, and I love it.
I love that analogy. That is great. Yeah, exactly. And it's when you think of small option home living, I was talking about the ILS, but even in a small option home program, there's some institutionalization things there that we are slowly breaking down. When someone's moving in a small option home, the level of support is going to be a bit more, and that's where you can get more of the barriers. And when I'm talking about barriers, it's the way you look at things, the way you think about things, even the way the person who might be moving into a small option home looks at things. So it's working with them to show them the possibilities. And sometimes it's baby steps. Like I said, some folks have never even made their own cup of coffee. So, it's starting small and bigger, going bigger with that, step by step.
Absolutely. And you know what? We have to go bigger with this right now, Sam, because my next question here, it couldn't have been laid out any better. It's like we planned this, But you've talked about people making their own cup of coffee for the first time, deinstitutionalization, things of that nature. Now, without using any names, don't identify anyone. Can you share a success story with me? What happened when someone reached out and asked for help?
I've got a great one. I love that you asked this question. And you're going to have to stop me because I might ramble on with a bunch of different ones. So MCL, we were involved with a closure of an institution, and we moved 2 individuals into community. And she was an older lady, and she loved to bake, but hadn't baked in decades because she lived in an institution, and you're not allowed in a kitchen. Because who knows what someone might do in a kitchen. So we got her in the kitchen. We got her baking utensils. We got baking ingredients and recipes. And I can't tell you the joy on that woman's face when she was able to make her first pie and share that with people that she cared about. Something so simple that we take for granted every day. And it's like we gave her $1 million that she got to bake a pie. And I got to give you another one real quick. So I had another individual. She was, again, in institution for a very long time, and we welcomed her into her home. And she is a thrifter. She loves to go shopping. And she turned that passion into giving back to her community. So she actually, throughout the year, collected enough items. She made approximately 28 Christmas hampers for folks who wouldn't have had Christmas otherwise. So she got to give back to a community, and the thrill that she got from that to give back. Because you look at some folks and all they do is they have had people support them and they've never had the opportunity to give back. And when you give back, you give yourself value. You know, one of the selfish things about me being in this role is it's what I get from this job, the value that I take from it. It's so selfish how good I feel at the end of the day. I do this because it makes me feel good, and giving people the opportunity to do things for other people that makes them feel good, you can't top it.
Oh, you can't top it. And to be honest with you, Sam, I'm living that every day. Okay.
Yeah. I love that for you.
You know, me being on the station here, this is totally selfish. This is my recovery.
Yeah. Right. Oh, it's so healing, isn't it? It is so healing. Yeah.
Right? It is. It is. So I understand, and keep those people going. Keep them going. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, you've got to. And getting them volunteer opportunities. So I have another young lady. She volunteers at the IWK, which in Halifax is the Children's Hospital. She spent a lot of time there when she was growing up. So again, providing her that opportunity, it creates value in her life. It gives her something to get up for in the morning when maybe otherwise you wouldn't want to, because sometimes you don't want to admit it, but in small option living, it's really easy for you to live a day-to-day life that involves you waking up, going to watch TV, eating a snack, go watch TV, have a nap. And these are folks who have value and can give back to their community. They just weren't given the opportunity to do so. And that's where I find my passion, and that's where I find lightness in what we do.
Yeah, these are folks that just haven't had the experience of their life, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You got it. You got it.
We need to keep showing more options to folks like that. Something's going to catch somebody's attention.
Oh, for sure. And I can tell you another example. When I was talking about when we ask people, what are your interests? What do you want to do? And sometimes people say, well, I don't have any, or I just like to drink coffee. That's a big one. I like to drink coffee and smoke cigarettes. And it's because they haven't had the exposure. So we did have one older lady, and we had to go through a bunch of different things. So we tried gardening. Nope, that wasn't it. We started going to bowling. No, didn't like the bowling. We started making bath bombs. No, I don't like making bath bombs. Do you know what she loved doing? Making jewelry. So we were able to set up a little jewelry making station, and she sells it at local markets now. But who knew? She didn't know because she never had the opportunity to make jewelry.
Yeah. She didn't know what a soldering iron was or how things go together. So,
Exactly. Yeah, no one showed her the lovely world of Amazon and all the different tools you can buy on there.
yeah. Oh, man. People just need experiences. That's it. I mean, here I am getting personal again for you, Sam. I wouldn't be near the running club, but the pool group, I'd be a regular.
Wouldn't you? I actually love going to pool club. It's really fun. And it just, you know what? Sometimes people, again, it's just this institutionalization that you take people from small option homes to a pool hall. Yes, yes, they're grown men. They're going to the pool hall. Don't you?
Yeah, people just don't understand. So
They really don't. Yeah, the shot. What do you mean? Do you let them have beer? What do you mean, do I let them have beer? Are they over the drinking age? Yeah. They have their own money? Yeah, they're getting a beer.
yep, that's what it is. Oh, man.
That's what it is. Shocking, I know. Letting adults be adults.
Oh, the clutching of pearls has begun, I'm sure.
That's a great descriptor. No, listen, at MCL, it's no restrictions, only possibilities.
I love that. I love that. And once again, we've got a perfect question here for what we're just discussing, Sam, because we talked about a lot of limitations and things like that that people will put on other individuals, or, the incredulity of, you let them. But what's the one thing that you see happening over and over again to individuals with disabilities that shouldn't be? And how do we stop it?
Oh, that is a great question. And it's a kind of a broad answer. Existing in community. these folks are allowed to be your neighbors. So when we have, maybe a new small option home opening, or we have an ILS moving into a new apartment building, the comments from people, are they going to be okay living alone? Well, what do you mean they're left alone? How can they be overnight? It's community members understanding what it actually means to have a disability, that there is still competence, that there is still autonomy, that there is still rights to execute whatever they want. There's a dignity of risk. So allowing people to be who they are and to make the decisions and not limit people simply because there is a diagnosis or there is a disability, allowing them to be in community. They are your neighbors and they have every right to be your neighbors. They don't deserve to be, well, maybe they shouldn't live in this neighborhood. That, I think, is our biggest barrier, and it's not an easy solution. I think what MCL does with making opportunities and creating the opportunities for people to be a part of the community is the best way to overcome it. I think education is key. And when people in the community see that someone with a disability is someone just in the community and just like them, it's not the end of the world. It's not the demise of a neighborhood. There's actually benefit and there's value. And I hope one day we can get to a point where that happens.
I think we might have to wait a while, but yeah, I hope we get there too.
Yeah, I agree with you, but that's the dream, hey?
Yeah. Now, if someone wanted to become a member or a volunteer with Metro Community Living, what's the process for joining as a member or a volunteer?
Yeah, so that would be through our website. We have the website. It's www.mclsupports.ca. And on that, there's links for job opportunities that you can click and follow the links. We also have an email address that folks can do, and that's info@mclsupports.ca. We have a LinkedIn that they could also access through. And we do have social media. So we've got the standard Instagram account as well as Facebook.
Okay. So you got a lot of options for people to join there.
Yeah, sure.
And also, if they're looking for more information, is there, 1-800 number, message in a bottle, carrier pigeon? How do they reach out?
Well, carrier pigeon would be an interesting choice. We don't have that one, sadly, but definitely the info email address is your best route.
Excellent. Now, what is the one thing, Sam? What's the one thing everybody needs to know about Metro Community Living?
That we are person-centered, collaborative, and we're here for the individual to meet them where they're at.
Meet the individual where they're at. I love it. But unfortunately, Sam, we're out of time here. Would you care to say goodbye to the folks at home?
I would. Thank you again for having me. This was a great experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sam Turner, the Director of Participant Services for Metro Community Living. You've been listening to Community Partners, and I'm your host, Sean Pickard. Until next time, bye for now.